So I did briefly hear that same news story. I haven't had the chance to dig into it. So let me go on some generalities, right, if that's okay, and not knowing the real specifics. Our friends in the EU, I think in many ways are ahead of us on this dialogue. At the same time, I think that we also shouldn't be afraid to point out where we're actually doing a better job than they're doing as well. The United States has reduced more carbon emissions during the last decade than the next 10 carbon reducing countries combined. So I think we shouldn't be, we don't need to stand on the sidelines and say we're not doing everything. But they have been very forward leaning in the EU. Yesterday I was on a conference call with 3 MPs from the United Kingdom talking about what they're doing. And I think there's a lot that we can learn there. Let me just discuss China briefly. I was on a China task force last year. I've lived over in the Orient. I speak Mandarin Chinese. I'm very concerned about what's happening in China, and I have no reason to have any confidence that they're serious about reducing carbon. And I need to dig into their details, but we know for a fact that they're opening coal-producing plants at a breakneck pace. We know for a fact that they're not good actors and they can't be trusted. So we need to turn that, though. We need to build the type of relationship with China where we do have that relationship of trust, because we cannot be successful at our climate goals without engaging China. We just can't. They're too big and they emit too much carbon for us to simply say we can ignore that relationship. And that's a heavy lift, not just on the climate, but on economics and military. I mean, there's a lot of levels where that's applicable with China, and we have a lot of work to do.
That's really interesting, because I think it is a more progressive viewpoint on the relationship with China, since we are at odds with them on many different things, but you believe that we should be working more closely with them on climate initiatives.
Well, if you'll excuse the analogy here, I like to tell people what we need is marriage counseling, not a divorce with China, because we just can't. A lot of people, when I was on the China task force last year, we started kind of with a dialogue of decoupling, right? Like just totally cutting off our relationship with China. Mm-hmm. I don't really believe that's an option. They're too big, they're too dominant in the world economy. But that doesn't mean we should let them push us around either. And we're on the moral high ground here. And they're serious. I mean, we've got problems here at home, but let me just tell you, whatever we've got here is magnified by 100 or 1,000 over there, with human rights violations, with the lack of freedom, and the things that are great values to us. But knowing the Chinese people as I do, and also I think it's really important to point out, our beef is not with the Chinese people. It's with the dictatorship that is as oppressive to those Chinese people. And I have confidence long term. I actually think this is one of President Biden's biggest challenges that he faces, is the relationship with China. And he'll find at least me and all of us, I think, willing to jump in and be supportive of him as he works on this relationship.